Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Down Unders, and it's been a little while. My man Brody, how we been, brother? Obviously, it's been a little while. The guys, Jazz, Tans jumping in the chat. Great to see you guys jumping into the chat. But again, we come back from Sydney. There's a lot of stories to get to, bro. But how you been through this period that we've been away?
Yeah, good, brother. It's been good to get away. Not just from work, but just the everyday life, the other routine. Living on vacation a little bit.
Yeah.
So no, it's been good. Good couple of little weeks off, but obviously missed the chat here in the community here. So it's good to be back.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for jumping in as always as well. Shout out to you guys, Jazz and Tans. But yeah, obviously, we apologize for being away for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the first week we went to Sydney. We did want to do a show before we went to Sydney, but we thought, you know what, let's just focus on it, getting everything right as we go to Sydney. And then the week after, we had a public holiday. So I was like, you know what, let's just live it up a little bit and, come back in fresh as a daisy for the run home. And obviously a lot to talk about with the competition coming up, my brother. But obviously, a lot of news going around in the competition right now, bro. We're also, guys, just quickly, I will want to touch on a couple of different things. We're going to do a little bit of a ladder prediction a little bit later on. And then a Supercoach show towards the end of the show, guys. So if you got any questions Supercoach-wise, make sure you hold it to the end of the live stream. We'll be talking about Supercoach finals as well. My man Brody has got his fingers on the pulse there. So he'll give you his thoughts and tips going into the final series there, bro. But first of all, our trip to Sydney. Obviously, you came away with the chockies in the big game, the men's squad. The women's, the women's got up for me, which was my little bit of happiness for the night, bro. But overall, your experience over in Sydney, bro, how'd you enjoy it? And how'd you enjoy a core stadium and being with the Dogs fans?
Yeah, look, Sydney was absolutely beautiful. It was a bit rainy over the weekend, which put a bit of damper on obviously the game. Both of our teams struggle in the wet, and it makes it pretty ugly footy to watch. But game-wise, it wasn't too bad errors. But it was a little disappointing. 25,000 still turned out, but it was tipped to be 40,000 plus. It was everywhere, so a lot of guys must have pulled out, which obviously had an effect on the atmosphere, had an effect on the guys sitting on top of the field. Everybody was like back under the cover. But other than that, pretty good stadium. They seem very, very laid back. It's not so fast-paced and quick like Suncorp. Suncorp's like booming the second you walk in, Sydney was kind of laid back. Things weren't really open during the women's game. Then they finally opened up a bit more once we started to look at kickoff towards the men's game. So it's just a little bit slow there.
Yeah, it was a massive stadium too. Obviously, we got caught up, running in from the train side, our gate from the stadium on the opposite side of the stadium. So it was a major walk. And then, as Brody said, just let us in. Suncorp allows you to let you in from all angles, but this stadium, obviously, it made you walk around the other side. But your thoughts on the size of the stadium, bro, the atmosphere there, and, comparatively, I know, for me, I still hold Suncorp as probably the pinnacle at the moment. I've been to Go Media, and I absolutely love Go Media. It would probably be very similar of you going to your home ground at the moment with the Dogs fans and that as well. But the stadium, all the little feel around the stadium, comparatively to the stadiums you've been to, where do you kind of hold a core stadium at the moment?
It's hard to tell, bro, because it was pretty empty, and the rain. So there wasn't really the crowd on top of the field. Everybody, like I said, was sitting a good 30 rows back to get out of the rain. So I'd love to go to a game there where it's a bit more crowded. But the stadium itself was huge. I felt like we were a little bit away from the field. Even when we were sitting down close in the women's game. So it's not quite like Suncorp where you're right on top of the action. So I still rate Suncorp a lot better of a stadium to watch at this stage. I even don't mind Seabus. Seabus is pretty good because you are still right there as well. And I hear Amy Park's really good. So I'm really keen to see how that goes this weekend with my trip to Melbourne. So
I'm really, really excited to see how that all goes for you, my bro. And excited to hear all the news and the stories that come out of being down in Melbourne. I haven't been to Melbourne just yet, but looking at the stadium from just watching the footy and stuff over the years with Melbourne and that, it looks like Melbourne pack out that stadium fairly well too. So I'm sure the atmosphere will be great down there with Melbourne, right?
I think so too, brother. Just hoping for a dry weekend, which is supposed to be in Melbourne, so that should be good.
Yeah, that's a great thing to look out for, yeah, because wet days in Melbourne's not always the greatest. But then again, Melbourne haven't played their best in wet weather footy this year either. So I think a lot of the best teams, you know, it does seem like the great equaliser rain in some periods. I don't know why that is. Obviously, when you look at the Dogs and the Warriors, the way we play our footy, it seems to like sway towards the wet weather footy, but it doesn't in a sense. So
doesn't work.
Yeah, I think the stop-start probably takes away from it, like stop-start nature of the contest. You're not able to keep the ball in play for a long period of time and that. But just quickly touching on the game, guys, you know, because obviously you didn't get to see us and stuff, but Matty Burton, bro, it's been 2 weeks in a row now that he's had these monstrous kicks. You know, the first one, the 2020, which was just like, it broke my heart when I saw it. But, you know, the latest one, I think it's recorded as the longest kick in NRL history, I thought I heard. I don't know if that's all just rumor and that, but your thoughts around him, bro, and how vital he is to your system. Just at the moment, you know, we've been touching on like the Dogs coming up against, you know, forward packs that are bigger, stronger, and at times, you know, they can wrestle over. But Matty Burton's boot just helps you so much getting out of trouble, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously a great weapon to have is a meter eater like Birdo with the kicks, and then really just get our defense back on track. That, you know, in that game early on against you guys were really in that arm wrestle, and then bang, Birdo. You know, like that could have easily been a drop ball, like a offload out the back that got knocked on in the wet, but instead Birdo picks it up and kicks a 20-20, and just
crazy.
It deflates you a little bit as a defense. Like, oh yeah, we've got these guys pinned. It's tackle 3. And they're inside their 20, and then that just happens. Like, it really does deflate you. And then obviously that led straight to a try, and your halfback getting concussed. So like it was just like 3 blows at once, and it kind of really just took the wind out of the game. And that's kind of how it felt to me. Was look, we've got a fucking ad on my YouTube so I can watch your channel. What the hell?
We love it.
Too bloody big. But yeah, just kind of took the air out of the game a little bit. So it wasn't the best game to watch. I was hoping for a lot more of a grind against you guys, but it kind of just seemed like once that happened and we put another 2 on, your boys kind of just said, oh, it's a little bit too hard. You know, we'll just live to fight another day. We'll go through the motions. And then the Doggies just kind of matched that. And it was just kind of a Plaza game. And it was like, all right, wait for full time. It wasn't like a swings of momentum and good tries. And it was just a little bit, it was a little bit just meh. Like, and I hate to say that about our teams, but it really was.
Yeah, it was. It did feel like that, honestly. I said that on Wise Up TV too when I came back with a little bit of a review of the game, and it just did feel like that after, you know, Matty Burton's 40-20 was a big moment in that game, I thought. Before that moment, it was 4-2. I think you guys are up 4-2. And then we had the big sway in like possession getting put down our line, you know, Tamati Martin getting knocked out. And it was kind of like, oh, my head just went, fuck me, man. Can we not catch this break? And then you crash over. And I'm like, okay, let's see if the boys can hold in here. Leka comes on. Then he gets knocked out, brought off the field. And then you just went bang, bang, bang. And just like kind of just pushed it out. And it kind of just felt like after half time, it just became, as you said, like a limbo game. Everyone just kind of gone, you guys kind of gone, oh, well, you know, it's gone. And then, you know, and then we just went, fuck, like we're not really getting back in this contest. So it did feel like one of those games. It was a little bit disappointing at the end of the day, but great to see that, you know, with the Warriors coming back after this one, getting the nice, well, not nice win in general, but a win over the Dragons. It was scrappy. We did not play our best footy at all. I'm sure we played better footy and lost games than what we did out there, but
a win's a win. That sometimes. It does feel like that sometimes, but yeah, you're right. A win is a win. And as Lockie summed it up about the Doggies and Wires game as well, wasn't a top 4 feel. You know, you look at the game of the Doggies Panthers just a few weeks back. That's what you expect when you see that top 4 come up against each other. So I'm hoping for one of those type of games this weekend against Melbourne. But as you said, brother, as long as the Wires bounce back, they did what they needed to do last week. And that's all that matters. And, you know, sometimes it's the ugly wins that count better than a pretty loss.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, credit to the Dragons too. They've been in a rich vein of form at the moment, knocking off, you know, the Raiders and the Sharks before coming over to us.
Knocking off and getting knocked out.
Yeah, you know, knocking out 3 players of theirs.
I shouldn't laugh about it. It is a serious thing, but it's just fitting that you guys finally caught. Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but you guys got finally an upper hand with the other team copping some concussions. It's normally your boys that get handicapped with that. So it's obviously no laughing matter, and hopefully all those guys are right. I did see Hame Saleh post up, and he's
I was about to say
that.
But
yeah, it's not good to see that in the game, but it's nice when it's not your team at least. So that way it's a bit easier to get the win.
Exactly right, man. And like, you know, we've been dealing with it for a little bit, and unfortunately I feel sorry for Dragons fans, but we will touch on a couple little things too I wanted to get to in the show as well, around, you know, those bottom 8 sort of sides and who's looking to better, because there was a great question that was on James Graham's podcast, and I did want to get to you because we spoke about this earlier on, and who do you kind of believe has a brighter future. But jumping off of our bounce back, then you guys obviously going down to the Roosters in that contest there, brother, like what you took out of that game, 32-12, we kind of touched on this a little bit just behind the scenes, and like, you know, it felt like the Roosters are running on that finals level, that finals high at the moment, where they're competing for everything. They're playing that upper level type of footy right now, where they're pushing hard for a final series. At the moment, it feels like you guys are just yet to hit that next gear just yet. Like your thoughts on, like, you know, whether you think you are going to hit that next gear and what's going to take your boys to hit that level. Like, because obviously we're touching on last year with the final series, it did feel like you're running in a little bit lower than other sides there due to how much work you put in for the season. So your thoughts around your performance there, bro, and what more do you guys need to do to hit those higher levels?
Yeah, look, it was a little bit disappointing. Like, I wasn't too worried about the first half. I thought we might have regrouped at halftime a lot better. You know, 2 tries came off kicks to Tupou, and obviously the one right on halftime to Nafahu White off a offload that got knocked down. So just like little individual areas where we're let down by individual players. And then the boys just didn't really respond after halftime, didn't come up with a new game plan. So they just kept chipping the Tupou. And I'm really worried for how we're going to handle that different this week against Coates. But yeah, obviously the Roosters, good squad, always been a good squad. Obviously looking to push for finals, so they need to win every game. So it's just about the bounce back. In these next 3 games, you know, we've got Melbourne, Panthers, Sharks. I want to be at least winning 2 of those games. And if we can't beat Melbourne or Penrith in these next 2 weeks, like either of them, we may as well just say, yeah, we're going to go out in straight sets of the finals. Because if you come across Melbourne or Panthers in the finals, it's a whole different beast. And if you don't have that confidence of getting a win over them in the season, I don't know how the boys are going to go. But I could be wrong.
And even adding on top of that, Daniel Tupou having an amazing game out there and against Inari Tuala. I was a bit confused of why, you know, we all were confused of why Inari Tuala was back on that wing and not Karaz. Like, why Karaz didn't go back to his preferred side or the side he usually plays on outside of Critter. And then we saw, like, obviously the little bit of a tactics, which I believe they're tactics. I don't know what really the thought process was in general, because it was a real weird thing because it kept happening again and again and again. But Inari Tuala's positioning to try and take those kicks where he's trying to run on the same sort of line as Daniel Tupou to either push him off the mark or get up with it. It was just such a weird sort of thought. Do you think Serrato obviously makes a change this week, obviously going up against Xavier Coates? You know, Tan's putting in a chat, is Critter on Coates' side? Like, you know, Critter, I'm pretty sure would be on that same side, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Critter was on Tupou's side as well when he didn't swap.
Exactly.
So I don't know if they maybe had Karaz on Marky Mark because he's obviously an air threat as well. This week it's only Coates, so I dare say we'll see potentially Karaz go back to that right side. But I definitely see where you're coming from on it, maybe being a game plan to try and just be in front of Tupou and not let him get to the ball. But after the first 2 times, it clearly didn't work. Come up with something different.
I know, that's a thought. And like, you know, because I know there was a big discussion in a couple other podcasts during the week or during the last couple of weeks about, you know, Xavier Coates kicking into form now because, you know, the Storm, their new strategy is chip into the corner for Xavier Coates. He's going to get up there and grab it. Similar with the Sydney Roosters, ever since Sam Walker come back, and that's pretty much their game plan right now is get to the position, Daniel Tupou, aerial threat. Like, it does look like Serrato, like, we know Serrato as a real serious thinker of the game, whether he came up with something thinking that was going to put him off or anything like that. But obviously it didn't work out there. It was just, curiosity to see if, like, he will switch it up or what sort of ideas do come from this, because this would be a new sort of tactic people are probably thinking of to try and discredit or, like, you know, take away from Daniel Tupou and that, because he's so good in the air. And same with Xavier Coates.
Well, they need to start looking at the rule, because all the advantages with the attacking player, you know, as soon as they leap, you can't be touched. So you basically got to let them score a try. I believe you should be able to make contact with them and try and defend them as long as you don't take the legs out. So if you're wrapping the body when they've got the ball in their hands, if they're still in the air, that should be allowed. I mean, why is that not allowed? As long as you don't put them in a dangerous position, you should be allowed to start wrapping if they're going for a try. You're allowed to strip the ball when they're going for a try, but you can't make contact. It just makes zero sense. You know, they did take that rule away for a while, and now they've brought it back to being a penalty. But now it's just a free run to the try line, and you can't really defend it. Like, in all honesty, like, you give away a penalty. So the best thing you can do is hope that they land and you wrap them up and surround that with numbers. But, you know, when they're jumping and landing straight horizontal on the ground, what are you going to do? Get under them and lay under them? Like,
well, that's it. And like, honestly, I'll put my hand up because I'm pretty sure this rule changed after Ruben Garrick's issue that he had against New Zealand Warriors. I think it was even 2023 or 2024 when he went up for the ball and he got his legs taken out from under him and he landed on his back, but he was in, because the ball bounced and he's the attacking player, he got in the air. I'm pretty sure that's when the rule changed back again. But like, from what, in my eyes in general, like the defensive player, you know, should be able to make that tackling action if they're not going to put him in a dangerous position. Exactly. So over horizontal, like in any other tackle, right?
Exactly.
So if he just goes up to wrap, I think that should be fine. It should be like fair game. Where I think, wasn't it the rule in the attacking end? The attacking player can't do that when obviously, you know, the ball's up in the end, the defensive player's trying to take the ball high. I understand that, but the attacking side of things, it should be the opposite.
When it's going for a try, you know, when it's on the try line or over the try line, like, it's just not, it's not fair. So like inside that 5 meter zone, it should be fair game, but go figures.
And we're saying that too, because this kind of might segues pretty well into the next little talking point as well. Is there any other way you could probably try to attack that sort of part of the game, right? You know, you got obviously the kicker in a real good position, you know, their wing is in a real good position. Like the only other way you could really attack that maybe is just shooting off your line at the kicker and trying to attack the kicker early and put pressure on the kicker.
But then you get in trouble for making contact. So
exactly. So like there's a lot of different things that they've got to be working around with this rule of like, you know, if they change one thing, it could fix the other. And we're saying that obviously the Melbourne Storm getting a major win over the Penrith Panthers, and there's a lot of talking points around that sort of part of the game too, of protecting the kickers, stuff like that. You know, blockers in play. Harry Grant diving. So first of all, I want to touch on just the blocking play in general. Your thoughts on the rule, because I believe it's a penalty as in with the new game, but I'm also kind of looking at it from Penrith's point of view and saying like, you know, where's Moses Leota supposed to go in that sort of play? Where do you kind of sit at the moment in that sort of realm? Like I believe it was a penalty for sure, even though Harry Grant did dive, but where do you kind of sit with it?
Well, they're trying to compare it to, like, you've seen the footage, obviously, of when it got brought into the game and Cleary did it against Melbourne a couple of years ago. The difference is, in that clip, Josh King is standing right next to Harry Grant, actually blocking the markers for me. Moses Leota is standing 5 meters out, pretty much in line with the hooker. Harry Grant's made it kind of his mission to run and try and go around him. Whereas if you look at where Cleary's standing, it would have made sense for him to shoot straight out from marker in between the hooker and Moses Leota. There's a 5 meter gap there. So he's kind of gone out of his way to get the penalty. And that's why I believe it shouldn't have been a penalty. But I understand the rule's a rule and they just need to make sure that's clearly stated. But for me, if he's just passed to Cleary and Cleary passes it and he does that, it's not going to get called an obstruction, is it?
No.
Even though it's the same thing. But it wouldn't get called an obstruction. So why is it called a penalty for a drop goal?
And it always brings back to the thought, because Rugby League Guru and always brings up the great thought is when we get to this crunch time, like the field goal in general, it just always looks messy. There's always mess around it. You know, when, you know, the team gets a penalty, like, you know, we had one earlier on in the year where we had to put a challenge and obviously we missed the kick with Newcastle, but you know, where the marker wasn't square, you know, in all those situations, marker's not square, there's an offside, there's blockers in the play, the field goal, like there's so much mess going on with the field goal. Is the field goal so vital in that period? Like if we removed the field goal, how would you feel about that with the game? You know, as in the fact of like, you know, we score tries to put points on the board. Like, do you think that that's a way maybe we can attack that? Or do you kind of enjoy the field goal type of feel of it? It's like, you know, someone breaking your heart from 40 out. Like, where do you sit with that? Like, does that fix anything for you?
No, I would love to scrap the field goal. I really would. I would either just love to just be like, look, it's a draw, or you play until somebody scores a try. Or gets a penalty and takes the 2.
Yeah, exactly right. Because, like, you know, just the whole field goal aspect is markers are never square. Like, players are always offside. You got blockers on the opposite side of things, you got many different things going on that can go many different ways. And I think it was even pointed out by James Graham, I'm pretty sure he said that if you actually look back on that play, Harry Grant, obviously he was square at marker and got around, but there was an offside player that actually attacked at the ball as well that didn't even get called or thought about in that play. Like for me, that's probably the best option. And like the best way I've ever heard it explained is when you play soccer, you know, it comes down to, you know, penalty shootouts, but the whole point of soccer is putting the round ball into the goal. So that's the whole point of soccer. The whole point of rugby league is to score a try. It's not to score field goals in general. So why do we make games rely on field goals when it comes to that moment?
I would happily say if you are drawed at 80 minutes, that's it in the regular season. And then come finals, if you are drawed at full time, you play until you score a try. And may the best team win. I quickly want to jump back up to Jazzy, mate, being amongst my own people. Well, it's funny you say that because I feel like a lot of the fans I was around or we were around were casuals.
It just tough.
It really was like some of the things that they would say. It kind of felt like at the Broncos, the same thing.
It does.
You're around and there's a lot of casuals that don't understand the game or they're calling for things that make zero sense. And it just, you just feel like beating your head against a wall, like you don't understand it. And as soon as full time is, and I get it was wet, but as soon as full time's blown up, they're gone or walking out with 10 minutes to go. Like to me, that's not really like a really, really big fan of the game. I don't know. That's how it kind of felt. So I wouldn't really say my own people. I think I would love to sit in the members section and it would be a little bit different, not just a general access seating that we were in.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of that too, like the general access. And, you know, I also put it like, you know, I think people are just really like, you know, they're big fans of their side in general, and they may not understand the game, but they just enjoy, you know, the side and watching those boys play footy. And like, you know, coming from my point of view, it was mad frustrating, but I can't say the opposite thing. When I was at Go Media Stadium, I was a part of that, like my people in that sort of sense, right? But there was still those sort of peoples that are still around. You know, I think it's just everywhere, you know. We know for a fact, you know, going to Suncorp Stadium all the time and watching Broncos fans out there, it can be just as frustrating as anything. So, it was one of those moments, but you're 100% right. I do think that the knowledge of like, you know, rugby league fans does need to grow in a tad for me, but like, you know, again, you're going to have casual fans in general and they pay their money and that funds the league at the end of the day too.
Exactly. But that's why, you know, I love Magic Round because, you know, it's guys that sit there and watch every game of footy and it's not just about their team. They understand the game. And that's why that's a great atmosphere. And the guys that you sit with at the game, you watch them all three games for the whole day next to you and you have that chat, you have that banter, they get a good understanding. And I agree, Jazzy, there's definitely heaps of Doggies fans out there that love the game, like, you know, Hectic Fred. And stuff like that. Like I'm sure there is, but you know, we just unfortunately weren't sitting around any on the day. So
it was a wild experience, but you know, it is what it is. But lastly, just getting into some of the like, you know, the bigger talking points over the week. And like, I know some people will probably be sick of hearing it because, you know, obviously we're a Wednesday show and a lot of people already jumped on the talking point earlier on and it's been beaten to a pulp in a way, but diving or gamesmanship in rugby league at the moment, like, I believe for me anyway, I believe there is a little bit of an issue, but there's also, you can look at it on both sides of sort of thoughts. Like, I don't think the game will ever get to the stage of what soccer's gotten to. But there is a slippery slope. If we do allow teams to do it a little bit more and more, it will become just as annoying in that sort of sense. But I know you got pretty strong sort of thoughts in this sort of area, bro. So I'll let you go first. But diving in the game, obviously Harry Grant's moment in that, and like, well done, Harry. He got the, he got what he wanted in that position there. Like Mosley Oda did move just a tad to kind of create that sort of action. He dove, he made it a bigger moment. It happens with everyone in the league. Like we've seen it all the time now. But do you like it? Do you dislike it? And what's the way that you can think of combating it in any sort of way?
Well, yeah, there's been prime examples every game. Every game there's a prime example, from a high shot to obstructions.
Yep.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit before, you know, of milking. You can't blame them at the end of the day. Who pays their bills? You know, it's their coach. It's the club that they play for. If they don't stay down for a penalty, and a prime example is JC the week before, who got hit high and he just got up and played on, and the Titans didn't get a penalty, which would have won them the game. If that's a grand final and he does that just because he's brave and he wanted to get on with the game and they don't win the grand final,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to be fucking crucified by fans, by the club, by the team, just because he didn't stay down and milk a penalty.
Yep.
So you cannot blame the players at the end of the day for staying down to milk that penalty, knowing that it's going to come, because they did feel some high contact that the refs missed, or they did feel like the rules weren't met on what they did. So
Exactly.
for me, if the referees or the bunker miss it in the first instant, there's that many people watching the game. We watch the game live and we could see a high shot, and then a player does stay down and you go, here we go, there's going to be a penalty. Why can't the bunker see that? Or why don't the touchies see that? Like, I get the ref has got a little bit to look at. He's watching, the onside. He's watching the ruck. He's watching this. But the bunker, they're sitting there watching the screen. The camera gets everything pretty clearly, and you could see it live pretty clearly. It should only take a second for the bunker to be in the ref's ear and say high shot and call it before that player has to stay down and milk the penalty. So take it out of the player's hands, or tell the players that if you are to stay down for a high shot, you're going off for a HIA if you do get the penalty. So do you really want to get that penalty? Like Dallin against us was the first set of the game for you guys. He risked staying down for a penalty in the first set of the game to potentially have to go off for 15 minutes HIA. He didn't go off for HIA, but he got a penalty for a high shot. So go figures. Like, it's just take it out of the players' hands, because you can't blame them for taking the dive and trying to get the advantage for their team, because they are playing by the rules. The referee missed it, so they're getting that penalty. So take it out of their hands and either A, catch it straight away, or B, tell them that if we miss it, you're not getting the penalty. You're just going to be staying down for nothing. Like, we can't go back.
Exactly. At the end of the day, like, there's similarities to this is sort of thought I've been having for a long time on this period, because obviously I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but, a lot of people want to change the rules and the fact of, like, really punishing the players around this sort of sensitive thing and really, like, handing them out to dry and in that sort of way. But at the end of the day, like, for them to push that in any sort of way, like the ones that, like, don't get caught high and they're laying down for penalties, you don't get to see that too often, but it has happened before. Yeah, sure. Criticize the player, like, rip them apart, like all that sort of stuff in that sort of sense, because that shouldn't be a part of the game, right? That's probably the worst thing about soccer, is when it is like, those blatant ones that aren't a penalty and they push it. But the ones that do get caught high and they do stand down, like, at the end of the day, that's the referee not making that call in that moment, and they're just trying to get that call. Like JC's one where, there's a story behind this. Brendan Smith was on James Graham's podcast, and he said in that game, he actually hit JC high. He pretty much said, my fist went through his head. And like, JC, when he was in the ruck of the tackle, JC said, don't worry, bro. I won't stay down for that penalty. And Brendan Smith was like, oh, bro, I mad respect that. But at the end of the day, you're giving the upper hand to Brendan Smith. Exactly. Desi Hasler's going to get sacked this year because of how, like, their team's going. And, like, not to say that one moment's going to change the year, but there's a lot of those things of, like, when a team misses the finals because of these little moments that carry over, a coach is going to get sacked. There's people's jobs on the line. It's such a big moment into it. And when you look at the UFC, even one of the biggest sports in the world, that's the hardest sport in the world, where people that are toughest men in the world, like, we're not taking away from these guys' toughness either. But you had Aljamain Sterling obviously staying down with the illegal knee on the ground, right?
Yeah.
The end of the day, right? The illegal action did happen. The referee in that moment should have taken it away from his hands instead of making him look like the bad person in that situation. Because at the end of the day, he's going to get crucified for it for that short period. But like the rules state you can't do that. Like, you cannot do that. So it should be worked in that sort of way. And the other sort of thought I wanted to give to it as well is, if you stay down, sure, you get pride for that short period of time, right? But your team still loses. Your team still doesn't get to where they need to go. You stay down for that little period, right? Yeah, for probably the next couple of years, you're going to get known as a flopper. But guess what? If you win that premiership at the end of the year, you're going to look back at the stats, and people are going to add that win to the stats and not even think about whatever happened in that game. You know what I mean?
So at the end of the day, it's going to forget.
It's going to forget, right? So that's the reason why players do stand down. That's the reason why it does happen. So for me, it's more of an issue of, like, the referees probably need to take it out of their hands, as you touched on, and make the right call in the right moments, or give enough of an assistance to make the right calls in the right moments, and these things won't happen, and have black and white rules in those sort of sense. So that's my biggest thing, is rule out the people that are doing ones that aren't penalties, because they should be crucified. But the ones that are getting tapped on the head, like, they're getting tapped on the head, they shouldn't get hit in the head. Like, that's the end of the day.
100% right. And I couldn't agree more. But you know what I'd like to see is that player that knew they got hit in the head, not pretend that it hurt, or I'm going to say pretend that it hurt, even though sometimes they would 100%. I want to say pretend that it hurt, clearly stay down. I'd like to see that player just go, fuck, I got hit in the head. Captain, challenge this, please. Like, pull the challenge out in a play like that. Like, make the player have to say, yep, I'm confident I was hit in the head. It didn't obviously hurt. I'm not concussed, but that's a penalty. I shouldn't have got hit in the head. Captain challenges for me. Then you get the penalty and you roll on. Otherwise, if he stays down acting, oh, this, that, the other, waiting for the game to be stopped, HIA, off you go. But 9 times out of 10, you watch them get the penalty. That player has a hit up 2 tackles.
Yeah, I know.
Or kicks the goal straight away. Like, I don't know. There just needs to be like accountability there. And that's what I would like to see, is that if the referee and the bunker missed it live in the first like 3 seconds of the bunker intervening in the ref's ear before the game stopped, no penalty unless it's challenged in the first instance.
I agree,
and that's how it should be. Or if you stay down and you seriously are hurt, HIA because you got the penalty because there was contact to the head.
Exactly right, bro. And I'm right there with you on that. And I think, that probably much puts a bow on that, because I'm sure it's going to get a discussion again, because this always comes around in circles, like, you know, many different things. And, you know, we may as well talk about another thing that goes around in circles again before we jump over to some weekend previews and stuff like that. But Payne Haas pledging for Samoa. Tino may be pledging for Samoa. You know, obviously it brings up the discussion on eligibility and all that again, but let's park the eligibility discussion a little bit quickly. The Toa Samoa squad coming into Pacific Championship is going to look real juicy. How excited are you to see that like squad run out there against Tonga, against New Zealand? Like, how do you think they're going to go, especially with Payne Haas at the helm at the moment?
Still sweet, bro.
Yeah.
Still sweet. Do you mean us or Samoa?
No, Samoa.
Oh, bro, good. They'll be good, man. Like, it's going to add to it. But, you know, I don't think front rowers has ever been their trouble. I think it's been the halves pairing, the hooker, the spine. The spine's obviously always been Samoa's issue. You know, incredible outside backs, incredible forwards. It's kind of just been the spine that's let them down, getting them around the park when it comes to playing Australia and New Zealand. But it's going to help, that's for sure. They're obviously some of the best players in our game now pledging to play for Samoa. And I think it's great. International should be the biggest level. It should be rated over Origin. And if that means that they can't play Origin one day because they've pledged for them, so be it. I think International should be a bigger game than Origin. I know it's not. Origin's obviously the pinnacle, but it shouldn't be. In my opinion, International should be. And hopefully we get to the point where it is one day. But I'm still fine for these guys to play for New South Wales and represent their culture.
100%. I believe in, like, you know, international can come down to representing heritage. It doesn't just have to be where you live and represent and reside in that sort of sense of the world. So I'm right there with you. Like, you know, the whole argument around, like, you know, if we allow this to happen, the floodgates will open, and, like, you know, there's going to be all these Polynesian or, you know, even like Kiwi players or English players are going to jump into State of Origin because it's the pinnacle of the game. I don't think we'll ever get to that point. Like, we discussed this off air quickly, but, you know, when you look at those Origin sides at the moment anyway, when you look at the pinnacle of the competition in most of the areas as well, like halfbacks and nines and, you know, 13s in some of the areas, like, they're still, you know, Australian, you know, well, they're all Australian at the end of the day, but you know what I mean? Like, they're still got, like, I think that it doesn't change anything for me. I think it just grows the international game, and it makes the international game, as you said before, have the better opportunity to become to the level of what we're hoping it for, to where players don't look at State of Origin as being the pinnacle, where English players don't want to jump into State of Origin, even though they shouldn't be allowed to if they've not been here since 14 and that. But you know what I mean? Instead of that, you know, they're going to look at the international game as like, I want to play for England and go up against this Toa Samoa side in general, or the Kiwis, or, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the better look in the game.
100%. That's the biggest challenge, is to represent your country. So for me, that should be what you'd be chasing, is that trophy of the best country in the world. I love it. I love the chat going off right now. Daily Awards for milking. Jamie Salad. That's gold. Shout out to you guys on the chat, eh? That's crack up. I'm just giggling to myself over here between ad breaks, Ash. I'm over this shit. Seen some Hungry Jacks before.
I'm so sorry, guys. I've hit new monetization. I haven't really touched any of my settings or anything around, you know, the ads and that. But I hope you guys are enjoying. Yeah, I've finally hit monetization, you know, YouTube. So first of all, I want to thank you guys for all the effort, all the love you've been putting on the videos. You guys got me to this level, and we both appreciate you guys more than anything.
100%.
But Tarn's in the chat here. That's what I'm guessing Aussie has over the other teams is their spine. Tonga and Samoa will be the biggest game of the year. I can't wait for Samoa versus Tonga.
The energy in that stand.
It's going to be incredible, bro. We've got a gang of people going, and it's going to be so good, so fun. And agreed, yeah, agreed. The international game must be the pinnacle of our game. I agree as well.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
I think that would be the best. Like, you know, for the passion, you know, I'd love to look at Australia and go back to. I can't wait for the Anzac Test this year too, bro. Like, the thoughts of getting up really early and watching these top players for Australia go up and battle it against England. I cannot wait till that starts. It's going to be amazing.
And really shut the Super League up about how much better they are, or how much better they think they are.
I'm seeing predicted team lists of England already too, bro. And there's a lot of NRL talent that are looking at pledging over. Obviously, AJ Brimson's now English, you know, representation now. Victor Radley, we all know, is there too. So there's a lot of like that going on. But there's a couple of sneaky Super League talents over there that's going to be incredible. So I'm excited to see those guys, but also excited to see our Aussie boys, you know, like, you know, you had Tonga go over there and Samoa go over there and deal with their issues. And again, I don't want to be that guy, but there's been refereeing issues over there in England and going up against those sides. I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of that, but I can't wait to see this Aussie side just go at it.
Yeah, just destroy them. Let's hope.
Bring back the biff, baby. Go back to what Willie Mason. Have you seen all the videos of Willie Mason and all that? Those days,
the
bro.
Good old days, bro. The good old days where it meant a lot. It meant like, nah, fuck you guys. We'll have a beer after, but fuck you right now.
Bro, it was so elite. Like, I miss those days so much. But anything more you want to touch on, bro, before we jump over to our team of the week, and then we'll go for our NRL ladder predictor for the end of the year?
I think that's it for now, bro. Anybody got anything else? I think that's all good.
I did see a couple of sign. I'll quickly jump into shout out to Clarkie's rugby league column, guys. If you ain't following, make sure you do follow.
Seen a bunch of re-signings. Like, I know the Doggies re-signed for Feeder. We re-signed Haywood.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we got so far.
Talks on DCE. People pushing DCE for retirement, but that's not going to happen. He's going to go to the Roosters whenever that gets announced, though. And
Brendan Smith heard a whisper that Melbourne Storm are looking at moving Nelson for Big Tino.
Oh, fuck. Please don't let Melbourne get Tino. Jesus
Could you imagine?
Christ. Back home? Oh, no, thank you.
Nelson hasn't played a lick of footy this year. He's played like a couple of games here and there, but man, like they get a Tino over there. Like,
yeah, well, he started there. I could see him going back. So,
yeah, we got a bit of money, you know, if he wants to come to the Wars and, you know, bolster up our forward pack a little bit.
That'd be nice for you guys.
Be an incredible forward pack, but I don't think he'll come this way.
No.
And tell you, bro, when does the NRL buy them out, the Super League? I'm not too sure, bro. There was discussion that that has deepened. I think we only bought 20% of the Super League at the moment.
Something like couldn't tell you, bro.
Yeah, so keep an eye on the news on that, bro. Yeah, Jazzy here. Tino back to Melbourne. Bro, fuck that, man.
Nah, no thank you, bro. I reckon the Eels are probably a good shout for him, but because they, you know, they've got the money.
Right. Even the Dragons are looking into him. Like, I reckon they'll be awesome for the Dragons.
Dragons are hard. Yeah. Dragons are hard looking at him.
I'm trying to think. Like, can't see too many other teams with a bit of money they can chuck at him. There was obviously talk of you guys. Manly. Manly do need a forward. Can you imagine? Yeah. It's not bad. I couldn't imagine him in a Manly jersey though.
Nah.
It's a scary thought of him in a Melbourne jersey too. So
no, don't want to see that again, bro. He was killer when he was there.
All right, bro. Let's get through our team of the week and our players of the week, hit of the week, try of the week. All right. Fullback of the week, brother. Who's our fullback?
Bro, take your pick.
Pick one.
I went with Dylan Edwards. Just on the competition that he was up against in Melbourne, and for the Panthers to nearly roll Melbourne, and probably should have if you look at the field goal their way. I thought Edwards was absolutely outstanding. I know there was a couple other great fullbacks, and you'll probably mention a couple of those, but I went with Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, I went with Reece Walsh. I thought Reece Walsh probably had one of his better games this year. The 40-20, the tries, incredible moment for him. But a great shout there from Tarns. Like, I did think about Jai Gray. I thought Jai Gray was on a different level as well. I thought he was incredible. There was another name that Scotty Drinkwater had an incredible game too. So either one of those guys you could have picked and it would have gone right for either way. Wingers of the week, bro.
Just quickly on Walshy, what did you think Walsh did different? I know what he did different to have the game he had, but what did you think it was?
He picked run first to start off the game, get himself in the game 100%. Early.
That's exactly what I noticed as well, brother. And that for me is going to inspire your team to want to work harder and play harder. If they see the fullback bringing the ball back and flopping to the ground or getting dragged back 10 meters or throwing cutouts instead of like gritting his teeth, you know, they're not going to really want to work too hard. But if they see him like really putting his body on the line, it was good to see the strapping tape off Walshy as well to really move freely. So, but I noticed that as well. It was a run first mentality. So,
and like, you know, as a defensive line, bro, what do you got to do when a player chooses, like, you know, a player like Walsh chooses to run first? Like, what does that open up?
Oh, it opens up for him to run, pass, kick. Like it opens up everything for him. Like it's now the three options where at the moment, well, the previous weeks it's Walsh is going to pass. Yeah, his running game was non-existent. So dangerous signs.
Yeah. So shout out to Walshy. Keep it up, bros, because I know there was a lot of talk around him. You know, a lot of people obviously, you know, not understanding the position that he's in at the moment as well. Obviously being the kid that he is, but he's definitely got a bright future if he just sticks to those processes and learns as a fullback. He's still so young, but
100%.
You know, if he wants to be one of the best fullbacks in the game, you know, as Brody said, as we were saying, like, you know, run first, brothers, and everything else opens up for you.
Exactly. Well, it took Dylan Edwards a long time to learn the things he's learned, brother. You know, when he came onto the scene, it was like, oh, this dude's probably not even NRL, like in all honesty. But now, you know, he's rated as one of the best.
It was there was a period there where Hello Sport, shout out to Hello Sport podcast, were calling him the ghost or something like that, the slippery ghost, because he would drop every ball, he would go missing in every game.
Oh, that's how I remember him, Bo. And the doggies terrorized him at one point with high balls, even though we were a shit team. Like, But now, he's obviously worked really hard at his game. So
that's exactly it. So there's still a lot of time. Moving over to wingers, brothers. Who's our wingers of the week?
Yeah, look, again, I'm going to go different to the two that you went because I know who you went on this one. I want to go with Sione Katoa and Zach Lomax. Shout
out to Sione Katoa having a really underrated game, especially like shout out to super coaches out there too. I think he hit it was something
117, 113, something around there.
Yeah. It surprised me when I was looking at maybe trade options for this week and I saw him. I was like, oh, could I? And I was like, he's obviously, I think they got a bye this week too, so it wouldn't be a great option. They do have the
bye this week, yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, I love those shouts, bro. I got Daniel Tupou and Xavier Coates. I think they were like, you know, the cookie cutter sort of options as well. But I love those outside shouts because Sione Katoa, bro, when he's on, he's a really hard handle winger.
100%, bro. And they're the other two that I had just for their legit work in the air, like, and Coatsy with that intercept and just, he's a freak, bro. And so is Dan Tupou. There's a freak as well. So
shout out to those boys.
Our game is so blessed.
Oh, 100%. There's so many great athletes out there, and talk about some more great athletes. Who's our centers of the week?
I went with Tony Staggs as one, lock and load. You know, him and Walshy have got a really good combination there. And then I couldn't split my other two, and it was Horodi and Faingai for the Dragons.
Yeah, Max Faingai. Max or Matt? I think it's Max. Matt. Yeah.
I think Max is the Dolphins.
Max is at the Dolphins, but he come through junior grades, bro. His highlight package and all that, like he was touted to be the next best thing. He was kind of like, do you remember the Matautia brothers? The Sione and when they came through the grades, they were like the next best thing. They were very similar. They had all the wraps around them, and I think injuries and a couple of different things in development probably hurt him. But it's good to see him hit some sort of straps. And the same with the Dolphins with Max. I think he's a real talent. I went Katoni Staggs and Taylor May. I think Taylor's been a major key for the Tigers towards this run home this year. I think he's been so good for them.
It just brings energy, bro, and obviously it puts a little bit of a bee in Terrell's bonnet to be a bit harder as well. So, the Tigers are building something there, if not culture. You know, if it's only the culture they're building, at least that's coming along. It's good to see.
Yeah, and Katoni Staggs, bro, he's been a wrecking ball for the last, little bit. Like, if the Broncos going well, Katoni's dragging him, bro, eh?
Yeah, he normally finds himself in a bit of a shell at times, and he's really let it out the last 6 weeks, and he's been great, and that's 100% why Walters, I think, is looking at him for Australia. So
100%. I would love to see him in those colours, but either way, we'll wait and see how that plays out. Halves of the week, brother. Who's our halves?
5'8" was a little bit light on to pick from.
I
went with Tommy Dearden though. I thought he was classy enough. And then my halfback of the week was Nico Hines, who was also my player of the week. I'll get that out there now. Yeah, he loves Shark Park. That dude, he's a freak at home, you know, and very underrated these days for, you know, compared to the Daily M season he had, and he was highly talented. Then everyone was calling for him to be overrated the following season. I think he's having a really underrated season.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. I think Nico, he's just getting the rough end of the stick at the moment because of the overrated tag that's getting chucked upon him. And, you know, there's not much he can do about it because I think the balance of the squad's probably been the biggest issue with the Sharkies, and it doesn't help him having another halfback in that 6 jersey there too. But he has those moments where he's got this game in him, and he would have it consistently. I believe that balance was probably a little bit better. But I'm right there with you, bro. He's my 7 of the week. He's also my player of the week as well because I wanted a massive shout out to him because, as you said, the thing that he's been dealing with the last couple of years is probably not the greatest part about rugby league is when his players get to the highest high early and people want to tear him down as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, he's been one of those players.
100%, bro. He's been battered in the media for the last couple of years now. So
yeah, 100%. And yeah, shout out to Are You For Real? You know, Sammy Walker definitely had a great case for this one as well.
He was an honourable mention for sure. But who was your 5'8"? Yeah,
my 5'8" of the week, bro, was Jerome Luai.
All the way. Yep. Yeah. Him and Taylor May's combination on that left edge. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I think Adam Dewey, it's good to see Dewey playing some good footy there too.
He's a shout for halfback of the week as well.
I know. He's been absolutely killing it for me for my super coach, just in my non-reserves. So I've been missing out on all the big ones.
Another 100.
That sucks so much. I wish I had him in there. It would have been a monster score this week. But shout out to Jerome Luai and the Tigers. I do want to, you know, shout those boys out. Moving up front though, who's the front rowers of the week?
I went with Payne Haas and Nafahu White.
Yep, I went Payne Haas and Nafahu White as well. Nafahu White, bro. Fuck me. What a beast.
Dude, he's still so young too, but yeah, look, he's killing it this year, and he's having a bit more of the season now that I predicted him to have with Terrell leaving. It just took a little while to find those straps. I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks in, and then he just went bang, and he hasn't looked back.
Agreed, bro. Agreed. Moving over to number 9. Who's our 9 of the week?
I went with Jeremy Marshall King for the Dolphins.
Oh, I love it. JMK.
Yeah, really underrated game. You know, pumped out a lot of tackles as per normal, a try there, and just really nearly dragged the Dolphins to a victory there.
His try was in a really key moment. I thought it was going to really tip the scale back into their favor in their sort of way. You know, he's a great attacking player, but as you said, his defense too. Like for a player that was never known for his defense, especially coming through the Dogs, coming through as a halfback. Yeah, he's really stepped up in that area. I went Harry Grant again. Like, you know, when we touch on like everything that happened in that game, but you know, Harry, what he brings to that side and what he's doing for the Melbourne Storm right now is just different.
Yeah, he's probably separating himself again from Brayley for Hooker of the Year.
It got close there, like, because me and you were both arguing for Brayley probably getting it because of a more consistent year, and Brayley hasn't been like dropping off either. Like he's had great footy, but like, you know, Harry's probably just stepping up now, where it's like, my God.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue if Brayley got it over him. In all honesty, he probably does deserve it, but Harry Grant is really showing the elite level now.
Yeah, 100%, especially for the run home. And like, you know, we're looking at that Melbourne team over the weekend. I complain like my Warriors have been depleted on like, you know, our halfback and stuff like that. But, you know, Melbourne were without Ryan Papenhuyzen and Jerome Hughes over the weekend, and they beat the Penrith Panthers. Like, that's just a different elk of what we want to try and get to at one point. And like, it's due to a player like Harry Grant, honestly.
100%, bro. He just does so much work in the middle there, and he's back to playing 80 now as well. So scary.
Trouble. Edge back rows of the week.
I went with Isaiah PAPALI'I, and I went Tallis Duncan.
Bro, I love the Tallis Duncan shout because I went Tallis Duncan as well. Fuck me. He's come on leaps and bounds, and he's been given an opportunity, I think, which everyone's excited for.
I'm looking at him for Supercoach straight away next year. I think he'll be forgotten straight away next year with all the returns of, you know, Olakau'atu, Alikatoa, Angus. He'll be forgotten, and he'll be my sneaky little play, I hope.
I love it. I love it. My other guy is Victor Radley. I think he had one of the biggest tests over the weekend too of Viliami Kikau, who is a big test for any team in the competition. And I think he took it to him and he did a great job.
He did do a really good job, actually. A lot of the work he probably did went unnoticed on the stat sheet, but you're right. He did really hinder that right edge of the Roosters and stop the Doggies a lot in their attack.
He had that Liam Martin type of game where, you know, it's statistically and all that, it's not going to be right there for you, but you can just tell like all that little work he does as the bodyguard and, you know, to really shut down on Kikau, because Kikau has those moments too where he wants to be the guy to force the action and stuff like that. Yeah. You need a guy that's going to take it to him to allow that to happen.
And that was Victor Radley over the weekend, brother.
And that was the inflictor. But number 13, who's our 13 of the week?
So, dude, it's another Kyle Felt effect with this one for me, brother. It's Trent Liero, bro. And
no,
it's when I bet against him, bro. Like on PointsBet, I bet against him to get like 46 overall, and he had it by halftime. I was like, this dude's fucking. He's come leaps and bounds from that Origin game. Yeah, shout out to him, bro. Great performance.
He's having a really underrated season in that sort of sense. But the one thing I love about, because he's my 13 of the week as well, but when Harry Grant got questioned about his play, you know, how it was such a big play in the game and all that, he kept always trying to reiterate it back to people are forgetting of what Trent Liero did, and he was the charge down that happened to turn things around in that sort of sense as well. So his moment in that game gets drowned out because of all the noise, but Harry was just like, Trent Liero was a big guy. He was the guy. He was the guy. So big shout out to them guys. Crazy. All right, moving over to hit of the week, try of the week. Who's our hit of the week?
Hit of the week was I know which one you're going to go out of these two because I've got two. Mine's going to be Talakai bumping off Tino.
I did look at that too.
Holy shit.
It's crazy. No, Tino doesn't get put on his ass like that.
No, he doesn't. And he made it look easy, Talakai. So that's my hit of the week. And shout out to a try saver of Holly Wheeler and the Doggies front rower saving a try on the winger there. That was a couple of try savers from our fullback as well. But yeah, I got to go with Talakai, bro.
I think I'm gonna surprise you with this one, bro. I went Jai Gray's try saving tackle against Para. He had that. He had two actions too, actually, but the one, I think it was a breakaway. I think it was Iongi, had a moment there too where he chased him down as well. Like, just Jai Gray, he had an incredible game over the weekend. I wanted to shout that out, but obviously you're probably thinking of Chanel Harris-Tavita.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to go with, brother.
He got me off my feet for sure, on my feet. I was like, oh my God, Chanel, you do this all the time. Oh, couldn't have been on a better bloke. We got to love it. We gotta love it. Shout out to son. Shout out to Chanel, bro. He knows how to do that, bro. He's so
bro. He's an inflictor at 5'8", that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Try of the week?
I went with Karapani, brother.
The kick over from Billy Walters?
Yeah. So, you know, a bit of a line break, offload, kick over to corner. Yeah, beautiful try.
I don't want to keep glazing this like this game because I feel like I kind of have it a little bit, but I didn't even mean to. Because Karapani, I love that try and all that, but I went the Harry Grant dummy and go just because of the meaning of it and whatever happened in that play. Like, for a guy to just go, all right, all the heat's going to go on Munster, I'm just going to make it happen, and he made it happen at a big moment. Like, not a lot of hookers do that.
They don't have the balls to go against their halves in moments like that. So
and probably go against his coach too, because when he saw go to the coach's box and you see Craig Bellamy get up like that, it was kind of like, what the fuck? Oh my God, crazy.
Yeah, like if he dropped it or got tackled or something, Bellamy would have fucking ripped him a new one. So
yeah,
it's a big play to go for.
Yeah, but that Karapani try was just something different, man. Like, I think it was Payne Haas offload to Staggs. Staggs made the line break, or he put the line break assist, and then it got given back to Billy, and he goes, all right, side, just kicks it over. Karapani, incredible.
Yeah, no, unmarked, bro, just beautiful. And then, you could probably go Coates' intercept or...
Yep.
There's a few things you could go there. So
was the one that there was a Sharks try on the weekend as well. That was pretty solid. I think it was Nico Hines went short side. Yeah, it was a pretty gnarly one there too. Like Nico Hines, short side, you already got red alert, like whatever's going on there. So yeah, I thought it was a nice one.
Yeah, nice.
All right, brother. Egg of the week.
Mine's Combank Stadium, brother. Cleary went for a 2-point field goal before it got to Golden Point, and it missed. but Combank like had it on the scoreboard and had the Panthers noise. And like you know how it goes, like, and it has the Panthers like celebration noise and field goal come across like the scores. I was like, bro, he missed it. Like as soon as Cleary lines up for a field goal these days, and these guys just like, yeah, let's just give it to him, put it on the board. Like that's kind of how it felt. And I was like watching it going, these motherfuckers.
Oh, bro, I'm happy you said something because I was struggling to find, I couldn't find an egg of the week, bro. I couldn't remember a moment where I was going to like, yeah, that's my egg of the week. So I didn't write anything down, but I'm happy you got something there because I didn't notice that. How did you notice that?
Because I was watching it live, bro. And then like, yeah, like it clearly missed and like the play went out of play. I don't know if it was the one that was like right on full time or something, but like the Panthers noise came up and I was like, what the fuck? Because like I went back to my phone once he missed it. I was like, no, he missed it. And like I heard it go and then like seeing it come across the screen and everything. I was like, nah. How's Combank think that he's like, they're just giving it to him as soon as he touches the ball? Yeah, Cleary got it. He doesn't miss. That's kind of how it felt. So
yeah, I was just about to say that. It's like, yeah, they're obviously preempting because Cleary don't miss at the moment. And yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I can't think. I didn't have anything else noted for an egg of the week. So
nah, there was nothing sticking out to me to kind of like nail down on. Like you could go referee decisions here and there. Like I don't know, but like at the end of the day, yeah, I couldn't really think of too much. I guess like yeah, I couldn't think of too much.
No, I literally couldn't find anything else.
So you're thinking deeply there.
Maybe DC's little blow up. He kind of went short side in a 3-on-3 and a little 5-meter gap. And he's gone to like throw a cutout and he's blown up at Ben Trbojevic for like putting his hand out. Even though like if the winger caught it, he was getting smashed into touch. It was a bit of a hospital ball. If anything, it was probably better to be a pop to Trbojevic one-on-one that close to the line. But like, he was blowing up. It looked like, you know, somebody stole his retirement fund. And I just thought, come on, bro. Like, you're blaming... Yeah, so I thought that was probably nearly egg of the week worthy if you're desperate.
Are you for real? I thought DCE was going to cry. So he's seen that exact same moment.
Yeah, like he just carried on like a little fucking toddler. And I was like, come on, bro. Like if you actually pass it softer, Trbojevic is probably Ben Trbojevic is probably the man to actually get a chance there. But
for the line.
Anyway, DC's always been a wanker.
All right, moving over, but let's go through our ladder predictor. So, guys, won't be like weekend preview sort of thing, but we are going to predict these ladder, the ladder right now. So it kind of works in with our weekend preview as well. So try to figure out who's going to get top 4, who's going to get into top 8, all that sort of stuff, guys. So stick with us here. We're going to quickly float through this, and then we'll get to our super coach as always. So first game of the weekend here, Thursday night. Wouldn't say weekend, Thursday night. We've got the Dragons versing the Rabbitohs. Obviously, the Dragons without a lot of key members there. Hamish Stewart's now been ruled out for the season, unfortunately, which sucks to see. The Rabbits, I think they're pretty much the same squad as what ran out last week. Are you thinking the Dragons, with the form they're running in at the moment, are going to get it done here at a core, or do you think the Rabbits are finding a little bit of form at the moment?
I don't know why this game's at a core, but I'm gonna go the Dragons, and I'm going to quickly get to Jazzy's egg of the week, which sounds like a good one if you want to highlight that comment.
Let's chuck it up.
But
on up. My egg of the week was the groundsman who took away too long to get the 18th man message out there for Flano.
So I didn't see that one, but I dare say that would have been a good one. And Hamish Stewart, I think it's just precautionary. You know, the Dragon season's done. Don't play the dude that's coming off a HIA. Just rest him for next year. He's a young guy. You don't want him to have that risk to have another one in early concession. So I think that's a smart move for the Dragons.
Is Keon Galamatungi enough back in? Like, that's a major in, obviously. Obviously, we were discussing this at work too, and we we're like, you know, syndesmosis.
I think that's a silly decision to try and play him. Like, if he aggravates that injury, it doesn't go well for his off season. But I dare say he's probably a guy that's wanting to play rep footy at the end of the year, so he wants to probably get fit for that.
Yeah. Just looking at the side, Cody Walker's on the bench. Ashton Ward's starting there too. So what do you reckon? The Dragons are $2. Do you reckon the Dragons will get this done?
I reckon the Dragons will get this done at $2 as well. Like, I'm going to take them in this one.
Yeah, I think the Dragons have been in form at the moment. You know, obviously the loss to us was a tight one, but they showed a lot of good moments in that game as well. So I think they're good enough to get that one done.
I agree,
We're going to go to
brother.
Dragons. We'll go to Dragons together. Penrith Panthers versus the Raiders at Glen Willow Oval. Panthers obviously losing last week, so they got to be in their bonnet. The Raiders, losing the last couple of weeks. They're coming off the bye. Usually, we discuss this. Usually, teams coming off the bye don't have the greatest form. Do you think the Panthers bounce back this weekend?
I'm going the Panthers on this one, brother.
I'm just looking at the team list here. There's what changes have we got? Dylan Edwards, a fullback. He was there before. Jed Stewart there for the Raiders. Yeah. Lindsay Smith. It's pretty stock standard. Isaiah Yeo sitting in the reserves. He'll probably be a late change maybe for Isaiah PAPALI'I. I'm going to go with the Panthers with you there, bro. I do have the slight little feeling the Raiders can get up for this one, which would be great for top 4 for us. But I think the Panthers have been pretty strong this year.
I hope you guys have nothing on for Friday night and you just sit back and watch this top 5, because the Wires got the 4th spot back. But top 4, 5-ish spot of elite competition, go at it on your Friday night.
100%.
If you don't watch any other footy over the weekend, obviously other than the Wires game, watch Friday night, because that should be some 2 outstanding games, a little taste of early finals.
Oh, 100%. This one's going to be an absolute cracker here. The Melbourne Storm versus the Dogs. You guys obviously coming off a loss against the Roosters. So as we discussed before, they're looking at stepping up to a new level. And with the run home of the Dogs, there's got to be one of these games where they're going to have to do it and jump up to that to really, get that confidence coming into finals to say you're going to do it. But Melbourne, the form they were in at the moment, do you think it's too tough for you guys to get this one done at Amy? What are you kind of thinking here?
I'm going to take my boys only, and it's not just being biased. I think Munster still at fullback does hinder Melbourne a little bit. If Papenhuyzen was in, I'd probably just say straight off the bat, Melbourne. I know it's a big task to ask, but I think we're going to go and give it a good crack. I'm happy for you to go Melbourne on here if you think you believe that, but I'm going to go with the Doggies because we'll be desperate to try and win 2 out of these last 3, if not all 3. I would happily tick Melbourne on here for the sakes of the ladder prediction. But I think the boys will get it done, or could get it done. Hughes and Papenhuyzen out is massive for Melbourne. I know they've been doing it. They just beat Penrith without it, but I don't know.
How long? That's the thing. How long for can they hold up? Because that's my biggest argument to add on to your point as well. Is Melbourne played a massive game over the weekend against the Penrith Panthers, right? That's a massive game. To back that up, shout out to Marion Seve as well, running out there with the goggles and all the stuff he's dealing with as well, So they're testing our depth there. How long can they hold up to that top standard? And can the Dogs, just bouncing, can they make it happen? I think for the ladder predictor, we'll go with the Melbourne Storm for this one. But I can see where your point's at. I really can.
100%. And what they played 83, 84 minutes in that game against the Panthers. And our boys will have a bit of a bee in their bonnet from their loss as well. A pretty embarrassing one too. But I think it's obviously a big task to ask, but I think it's a lot closer than what people think in this one.
Agreed, bro. Agreed. All right, moving over to the Manly Seagulls versus the Dolphins. Obviously, Manly have been pretty down on form at the moment. A lot of talk around DCE, that sort of stuff. The Dolphins, unfortunately, just the amount of injuries are coming in on them. But I've actually really enjoyed what they've been trying to do where they've moved Hamiso to the centre. They've actually reverted back from that this weekend. Hamiso gets back to the fullback jersey. And there is Trey Fuller's on the bench. So I don't know if there's going to be a late change there. We'll have to wait and see. 4 Pines, is that the big separator here, even though Manly haven't been true crash hot this year, or do you think Dolphins?
Yeah, I'm going to go Manly at 4 Pines. And I completely agree with Are You For Real in the chat. Meany at fullback for Melbourne and Munster and halves a better option. I don't know if that's something to do with maybe just trying to keep Jonah Pezzett happy with bringing him into the team. But yeah, I think just looking at Wishart and Pezzett in the halves, I think the Doggies can really expose that. But time will tell. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud and hoping because I'm going to be there.
I think I heard in a pre-game, I don't know if it was a pre-game press conference or the after-game press conference, but Craig Bellamy was asked about the same question as well of, Munster going to fullback. He said it came down to a Meaney decision. So Meaney, I think Meaney said he wasn't comfortable enough to play fullback or something like that. He didn't want to hamper things. So I think that was right. I think that happened before the game. Go double check on that, guys. But I think it was a thing where he sat down with Meaney, and Meaney said that he would prefer to play stick in his centre and for them to move things around.
Because Meaney killed it those 2 games he played a couple of weeks ago. But
yeah,
anyway, time will tell. I'm hoping the Dogs really put pressure on the halves, and I'm sure Kiko and Presto will, and hopefully we can come up some errors and really upset Melbourne. I mean, Melbourne are due for a loss too. That's why I'm glad they beat the Panthers, because nobody wants to play Melbourne off a loss.
Nah, bro, I know exactly how that feels. All right, so this one, Manly versus the Dolphins. For me, this one could be a 50-50, but I look at the fact of, I think Manly, again, like when we look at teams that got to play for something, obviously they're, their captain, their man of DCE is getting scrutinised right now. I think there's got to be a moment where they do step up as a team and just shut it down for a moment. And like Manly have always been up and down, so I'm going to go Manly for now with you. But the Dolphins are a good enough team to get it done there too. I just think that it might be a little bit too much, especially from what they had to do the last week against the Broncos as well.
I agree, brother. I agree.
All right. Big game this weekend. I will be turning up to this one, guys, at Seabus Super Stadium. So if you do see me out there, come say hello. And I'm praying for a good result here. Team list does look pretty good. Rocco Berry comes back for us. So we are getting troops back, which is great to see. Kurt Capewell comes back in as well. And Tamani Martin comes back in to add with that. So it's great to see that we're getting some boys back. Just sucks as be no Mets and Barnett, of course. But the Titans getting it done against us over at home. Can we get it done against the Gold Coast Titans at Seabus? I think after last week's form, it's a little bit tough to say yes. But I think we should be hopefully good enough to get a 1-12 victory here, hopefully.
I got to give you guys a nod in this one, brother.
Yeah. All right. We'll just wait away the Wars. But again, this is a matchup. We hate playing the Titans at the moment, which sucks because shout out to Lockie if he's in the chat. But we need to be finding some sort of victory to really lock this home right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to get the monkey off your back with the Titans, and you'll be desperate. That was a really letdown game against the Titans last time, and you'll be out to prove a point.
Hopefully, my bro. Next game here, we got the Eels versus the Roosters at Combank.
I'm gonna go the Roosters, brother. Pretty easy this one.
Yeah, I think the Roosters in 2 red hot of form. The Knights versus the Broncos at McDonald Jones Stadium. Is this a banana skin game, maybe?
Nah, Broncos in this one. Knights, the Knights bloody woeful last week.
They look flat, bro. They look really flat. And the last one at the 8th wonder of the world is what they call it. Leichhardt Oval, the Tigers versus the Cowboys. Leichhardt, is that the big swing here for the Tigers?
I'm actually going the Cowboys in this one, brother. So I'll flip a coin with you on this one if you want to go the Tigers. You got a coin? I had a look before.
I haven't got a coin on me right now. I don't know if there's anything else I can flip right now for it.
All right. Somebody in the chat, think of a number between 1 and 10. Who's commenting a lot? We'll go with Jazzy or Tans. Think of a number between 1 and 10. And if me and Ash get closest to it, we'll go with our team.
All right. Jazzy went.
No, Jazzy. You think of a number, all right, between 1 and 10 and keep it in your head.
Yeah.
And then me and Ash will guess what that is and tell us who was closer.
Okay. You got this? You got this? 3, 2, 1. All right.
6.
I got a 7.
Ooh. What was it, Jazzy?
Here we go. He's retracted that comment. He's going to comment back to 7 again. He's got the laughing emoji. What's he got? Which way are we swaying, Jazz? Which way are we swaying?
Now post up your number, brother.
7!
Hey.
He did it for the Wars.
All right, Tigers, we're going.
We're going the Tigers. All right, we'll quickly jump through these ones, guys, but that's our weekend preview there too, guys. Tigers, Broncos, Roosters, Warriors, Seagulls, Storm, but we were looking at the Dogs a little bit there. Panthers.
I really want to change that one because
and the Dragons.
A better chance against Melbourne this week than against Panthers next week, but we'll leave it as Melbourne. We'll leave it at Melbourne.
Okay. All right. Let's move over to next weekend's footy. And the first game we're going to be touching on is that game, brother. You guys versus the Panthers. What do you reckon? I'm
going the Doggies. Fuck it. We're going the Doggies at home. Revenge for that game against Panthers last time.
Yeah. I love it. The Warriors versus the Parramatta Eels. I feel like we're up and down at the moment. There's a banana skin game here.
Only because it's at home. I'm going to go you boys.
Okay, I'll just sway the way of our boys, but I think that's a tough one with Mitchell Moses. Amy Park, massive game. You going Roosters in their form?
The Storm need a loss, and if it's not to us, it's going to be the Roosters.
I'm right there with you. It's either you guys or the Roosters are going to bring them down at the moment.
Yeah, they're going to need a loss before finals, and we always see it from Melbourne, and it's not a bad thing. They use it to fuel themselves.
All right. We got the Raiders versus the Tigers.
Raiders bounce back.
All right. Jazz, quickly in the chat. Robina is likely to be pretty wet on Saturday for our game, Ash, at this stage, bro?
Yes,
it's been raining a little bit.
Wet. It's supposed to be wet right from today till Sunday or Monday.
Yep. So hopefully no ponchos, but it's going to probably be poncho weather.
Yep, I think it will be, brother.
All right. I'll bust out the shorts. I won't go to long pants for this one. All right.
Tracksuit, brother. Full tracksuit.
You know me. All right, bro. All right. We're going to go the Dragons versus the Seagulls. I'm thinking the Dragons.
Dragons are Jubilee, brother. I'm only giving Manly that win this weekend because it's at 4
Pines. Broncos versus Cowboys.
I'm going to go the Cowboys to roll the Broncos in this one at home.
Do you know what's been a big change for the Cowboys? Jason Tamalolo being back.
Jason Tamalolo being back and Clifford in the halves. Every time Clifford is not in the halves, bro, Purdue at half is just mud.
Yeah, they're going to lose if you see Purdue in the halves.
Yeah, and it's not his fault. It's just it doesn't suit their gameplay. It doesn't bring drink water into the game.
Yeah, and he hadn't even had a preseason in that halves jersey anyway. So it's like, why they're making these changes is just beyond me, honestly.
Silly.
Very, very silly. Talk about a guy that changes his halves all the time. We got the Knights versus the Sharkies. Going Sharks.
By a mile, as Are You For Real said.
And we got the Dolphins Titans.
Dolphins.
Right.
Just.
This is tight. This is tight. We got Broncos Storm at Suncorp. Last game of their season.
I'm going to go Melbourne because looking at this, I think if it's looking like that, Melbourne will want to push for minor premiers. And a
home final.
And they won't want to lose 2 in a row because we got them losing the week before to the Roosters.
Yeah, exactly. Manly versus the Warriors at 4 Pines.
I think I might go Manly in this one, brother.
4 Pines has always been tough for us, and Manly's always been tough for us.
Last game for DC in a Manly jersey as well. And that's also why I'm tipping Manly this week. DC is 350. I know he's got a lot going on with the club, but I think they'll really turn out for this one. Last DC home game ever. So I think they might roll you boys in this one.
Yep, sweet. I got it. We got the Roosters versus the Rabbitohs.
Rabbits are normally good against the Roosters in a last game like this, and they'll probably go pretty hard out in this one. But I got to go the Roosters. They're really trying to settle into the top 8 here. So we'll see how they go.
AJ breaks the record in that game.
AJ breaks the record this game. Yep. Yeah, 100%.
That'd be crazy. That would be so good to see. Quickly, do you think we do the whole, Buddy Franklin for the AFL breaking the record, everyone stormed on the field? Do you reckon the NRL would ever allow that to happen if AJ scores?
Fuck no.
I would love for that to happen. It'd be incredible.
They should, but a lot of casual fans wouldn't even know what just happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shout out.
No, it won't happen.
That sucks, man. All right. Dragons versus Panthers.
Panthers.
Titans versus the Tigers.
I'm going to go the Titans.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Dogs versus Sharks. I reckon you roll the Sharks.
Yeah, doggies.
Dolphins versus Raiders.
Canberra.
And Eels versus Newcastle Knights.
Not quite the spoon bowl, but we're going to go with the Eels in this one.
That's crazy. All right. So that will mean our ladder by the end of the year, guys. We're looking at a top 4 of the Raiders, Storm, Dogs, Warriors. As it sits right now is as it's going to sit at the end of the year. The Warriors, I feel, could drop a game here and there. So I do still look at the Panthers maybe just jumping in, but we'll talk, a lot of these games can swing multiple ways. Panthers, Roosters, Sharks, Broncos will be your top 8, and the Roosters getting in top 6 is a major plus from them. Well done from the start of their season as well.
Well, that's giving, that this, guys, is a stretch because it's giving the Roosters every game for the rest of the year. And they've got the likes of, obviously, Melbourne in there. This is giving Penrith a loss to us, which is obviously a 50-50 game. And this is giving Melbourne a loss to the Roosters. And also, this is giving Panthers a win over the Raiders. And this is giving the Warriors a loss to, who was it? The Manly.
The Seagulls,
so,
yeah. There's a lot of things.
Even if it's not the game, it's kind of not so much the team that the teams are playing. It is a little bit, but it's more so how many out of these next 3 games I see the teams winning. So it's kind of finding a loss for some teams because I don't think any team in this top 8 will probably go undefeated into the finals now. I think they'll all drop a game here or there.
I'm right there with you, bro. The Sharks are getting in there 14-10. The Broncos just scraping in 13-11. That kind of makes sense with the injuries they've had. The Dolphins just missing out there 11-13. Same as the Seagulls 11-13. So that'll be this season. You need to get 13 wins to get a top 8 more than likely.
100%. Do you want to quickly do the finals while we're at it?
We may as well quickly do the finals, bro.
Scroll down and we'll rapid fire it.
We'll quickly. Oh, here we go. It's here. Yeah. So we can do it on this side here.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So Raiders at home.
I actually think you guys have got a good crack in this one. I'm going to go the Raiders, but I think, like, you guys, if this is how the ladder falls, you got a better run than fucking we do.
I'm hoping. We'll see how this goes. The Panthers versus the Broncos. Panthers.
I'm going the Panthers.
That's a good crack though. It's a good team, good matchup because Adam Reynolds will be back, I think, by then. So it'd be a good little final series. The Roosters versus Sharks.
Ooh, this one's tough. This one's really tough.
Both teams are very similar in some aspects, but also, Semi Walker.
I'm gonna go the Sharkies.
You going to Sharks?
You want to flip on it? Like
We've got to find something to flip here, right? I'm going to go... I think the Roosters, just with the pedigree and how they're charging home, I think they'll feel themselves. I think the Sharkies, as they've been seen this year, up and down, I just think when it comes to the big stage, they're going to hit it down.
Yeah, all right. Let's go the Roosters.
We're going with the Roosters there. That means the Sharks just get bounced out first week. That's crazy. And the Storm versus the Dogs.
We're going to go the Storm.
Okay. So, week 2. Warriors, Panthers. Unfortunately, I think the Panthers are going to scoot through on us. But it's great to see us in the week 2 of finals there. And the Bulldogs versus the Roosters. I'd say the Roosters are a big crack. I'm going to Dogs.
I think so too. We'll get revenge when it comes to this game.
Yeah, he's going to be replaying those replays and you know what happened that game. I reckon. Yep, I like it. Moving over, Raiders versus Dogs.
Oh, I reckon we're going to roll them. I mean, like, they didn't offer much against us. Yes, they got out to a lead, but we came back. But we played our terrible footy in that first half. And then we just blew them away. And Stephen Crichton lives rent-free in Canberra's head. So I'm going to go the Doggies.
We're going to go Dogs to a grand final by the looks of it.
Apparently so. Like, it's not looking too bad.
And we got the Storm versus the Panthers. This is a major one for the series too, because more than likely they're going to sit on their end of the draw. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd seem like they will if it's looking like it's going to finish this way.
Yeah.
Melbourne, I guess, brother.
We're going to go Melbourne. And this is a major thing to touch on too, because for the Warriors to get top 4 would be major for the competition in the sense of the Panthers will be on the same side as the Melbourne Storm then. If everything goes the way it is with Melbourne getting second, you would need the Raiders to get the first place though. So there's a little bit of that. If we give that up, I think it might become a look at like Panthers on the opposite side of the draw. Panthers Storm final.
Yeah, I think so too, brother.
And coming down to, was that the grand final of 2012? 12. I was going to say 2013, but yeah. Yeah. Are you guys ready for a premiership this year?
Nah.
That's crazy.
We fall on a pretty good run in the finals if that's the case, and I'm confident in all those games.
Yeah.
But yeah, come across Melbourne or Panthers in the finals, I don't see many teams beating them other than each other.
It could even become a Raiders Melbourne grand final as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and from what we had.
Yeah. For me, it's if you come across Panthers or Melbourne in the grand final, you're
Could
toast.
the Roosters do it?
No.
It'd be too big of a task from them, right?
Yeah, like the Roosters still have a lot of weaknesses. Like Billy Smith is a bit of a weakness for me, and Mark Nwanga.
Nwanga, yep.
That's the one. Like he's a bit of a weakness there with just errors and come big game. For me, it's still the Panthers or Storm to take the comp out this year, and that might be still undermining Canberra, but I still just think Canberra are going to lack come the big game. Could happen, mate.
Bro, this is craziness. So if we end up winning the first week of finals and you guys lose against Melbourne, we jump on your side of the draw. So that would be crazy. And book out a Warriors versus Dogs at Mount Smart grand semi-final.
Go back to week one. Go the doggies.
All right. And we go Melbourne over the Sharks.
And there we go, doggies and wires.
And I mean,
no,
dogs.
No.
Oh, yeah. That's what the grand final will be, guys. Yeah, take a photo, screenshot it.
That's what dreams are made of.
That's why it's so great to have the ladder predictor, guys. Make sure you jump onto NRL.com, have a little try your ladder predictor. Let us know what you come out with. But I think that's a pretty solid one. I think that we have the ability to keep top four, but there's obviously the Panthers chasing us hard. Yeah, other than that, like top eight, I got the Roosters in the top eight. I don't see the Dolphins or Manly jumping in there.
Nah,
so
neither do I, brother. And
yeah,
I don't know, but looking at those two, if that's how the ladder went, come finals, I'm pretty confident with you guys against Canberra. Like that's a favorable matchup for you instead of you guys versus us or you guys versus Melbourne in that top four if you hold on to it. That's not a bad wicket for you guys to potentially roll Canberra. And then obviously looking at that and how we predicted it, that's not a bad run for the doggies either, in my opinion. So
I like it.
I like it a lot.
What hurts so much as a Warriors fan is when you see that, like that run, like it would have been so nice to have Luke Metcalf and Mitch Barnett in our lineup as well if we're going to make that run. But I'm just so proud to see us get to that level, even to get around those finals this year as well. So massive credit to that. And same with your boys with the shuffling. Yeah, thank you so much. Are you for real? You've been amazing, bro. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, like, you know, with what you guys dealt with a change in the spine mid-season and you guys to find yourself in that spot, like it would be a massive tick in, like, you know, the book of Lockie Galvin. Is he able to get you guys to a semi-final or a grand final, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everybody's saying that it's really wrecked our season, but I don't think we were going to win the grand final with Toby Sexton at halfback. And that's no knock on Sexton. He's been great for us, but I don't think we're going to win it with Galvin either this year, but, you know, it's building for next year to potentially be there, whereas I still don't think we'd win the comp with Sexton next year. So potentially, though, we could win it with Galvin next year, but this year is a really big ask, but we'll see what happens. But
with Leo Thompson coming and all that, it's going to be real juicy in the future coming. Like, I think he's going to step up a new level in doggies colours. I can't wait to see that.
100%, brother.
All right, moving over to Supercoach, guys. You got any Supercoach questions, make sure you jump into the chat. Right now, I'm going to surprise a lot of people. I am not going to trade for anyone right now. I'm going to surprise Brody. I haven't got any trades right now. I've got one trade left. I'm not going to trade this week.
I'm not surprised, brother.
You're not surprised, motherfucker.
No, we got one trade. Like I didn't think we're going to trade, and especially with the news of Keon coming back in.
Exactly. So that has been one of the big ones. I've got Keon Kolomatangi that's going to cover there. Obviously, Ruben Garrick has been forced out of my lineup for the rest of the season. So more than likely, I'm going to move to him to Brian Toto. I just don't want to do Brian Toto this week. I'm thinking that I'm just going to wait off a little bit just to see where my cards lie, because I don't want to jump early on my last trade and then it fall apart too early. I want to kind of sit a lay to land a little bit, play a little bit more conservative here.
Yeah.
But that's my thought process there. So no trade for me this week, bro.
I like
so
it.
Your thoughts there?
Yeah, I like it. The only thing I worry about is potentially, you know, Gay Guy in the centers is not a great move anymore. And, you know, he's got the Broncos this week and he's up against Shibasaki, who's pretty good defensively. So could be an issue there. That's the only worry I have potentially with your lineup. But other than that, I understand holding the trade in case you lose a half or a fullback, which is probably more important to have a trade up your sleeve for.
Yeah. And hopefully Gags just rolls up to Shibasaki and be like, you stole my Maroons jersey this year, mate. I'm going to steal it back off you in this game here. You know, one of those big ones, you know.
Process.
Yeah, it'd be great to see. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Thank you to Tahi as well. Congrats to pole position in the leagues, bro. Yeah, thank you so much, bro. Me and Brody, you know, had a really great year this year. In our league, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to come back from this one, bro, because this one, like, the top of the competition is just hectic.
The top 10 of the Down Unders League is absolutely stacked. Yeah, but was up. He's in third as well, so we're really dominating that league. So let's maybe focus on that league. Sorry, Tahi, you've dropped to fourth, but you were in third when I checked it earlier. Must have been before the update on the Sunday, but
those updates get you sometimes. But yeah, thank you so much, bro. Yeah, we've definitely been trying, and that Down Unders League. Shout out to all you guys jumping into Down Unders League. You guys are absolutely amazing at Supercoach, and as we saw before. But quickly, before I jump off my team here, bro, so I'm going to go with Dylan Edwards, Jaden Campbell, Glormatungi, and Tarpany this weekend as my reserves.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking captaincy options. I got Teddy on a vice. I was thinking about Walshy as a captain. I just don't know, like, you know, how hot and cold he can get, like, in games at times. I want him to be run first. I got Payne Haas there at the moment, so I'm going to continue to think about it. But yeah, what if you were to look at it, what would you thinking?
Have you got a loop option?
My loop would probably be maybe Ruben Garrick. When those games play?
What day do the Roosters play though? Like,
they play on the Saturday.
First game?
Last game, Saturday. So it'd be Tigers, Cowboys. So unless I go Sharkies and move Adam Fanor-Blake in there, put a reserve on someone.
And leave Tarps out. When does Raiders play? They play Friday.
They play Friday.
Yeah.
The last game, I got Cowboys, Tigers. I could put Dewey and maybe on a reserve, but
I'll leave Dewey in this week, mate, against the. Oh, you could probably take Gags out. When do the Broncos play the Knights?
On Sunday. First game Sunday.
Yeah. So if I was you, I'd be looking at potentially Gags out of that lineup, brother. I wouldn't take anybody else out. Yeah, just for somebody to put a captaincy on. Yep. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Who are the Roosters got?
The Roosters, they have... Sorry, I've just gone on mind blank, so I'm going to jump into this. They have got the Parramatta Eels. Still a toughish matchup, but, you know, I think
I like the Teddy shout, brother.
Teddy would have a great little shout there. So I'm looking at everyone else. Like, Nathan's got the Canberra Raiders. Munster at fullback just doesn't get the points, which is, like, weird to me. Like, we've discussed this a little bit too. JC against the Warriors, he loves playing the Warriors. Like, maybe that could be an option there too. I just don't want to go against my side.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I can't see any other options for me that's, like, really stepping out. Like, Lomax, maybe. Yeah. I think I'm going to go James Tedesco and Payne Haas at the moment, and maybe Reece Walsh should become my captain if I feel it later on if it doesn't work out.
If you're chasing points, for sure, brother. Like, if you need more than just a 100 captain or an 80 captain, because that's probably what Haas is going to give you as an 80. But if you're lagging a little bit, you want a 240 chance at captain, then yeah, definitely Walshy.
And quickly, my rank is 1,421. So close to getting into a top 1,000. That's exactly what I'm aiming for right now. Quickly jumping over to your squad while we got a chance. Any questions in the chat there, bros? I don't see any. Guys, if you got any questions, make sure you jump in. I guess it's tough for questions at the moment because we're at the end of the season, and I think a lot of teams may be out of the race. Yeah. Quickly jumping over to yours. Tahi, my loop would be Nico for Katoa, Edwards, Vice, Payne, or Lomax, possible C.
Yeah, I like that actually. You know, Lomax is pretty guaranteed to score a try, and then his work rate puts him over the 100 pretty comfortably. So yeah, Lomax is a sneaky captain shout.
Jumping over to your squad right now, brother. No trade for you this week?
Not at this stage.
Any thoughts on trades?
If my VC of Dylan Edwards doesn't do well, I'm potentially looking at trading out Sanders Smith because I currently don't have a hooker in my team right now
Yeah, I did
because
just see
Brayley is
that.
on the bye. So, yeah, if Edwards doesn't do any good as my VC, I'm gonna trade out Sanders Smith for a Jeremy Marshall King or a Harry Grant.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Harry Grant. Ooh, yeah, Jeremy Marshall King will be a great pod play for the run home. But yeah, obviously Harry Grant's obviously a great play there too. Reserving Tom Trebojevic, Nwanga Tuase, Dane Gagai, and Tino. Any other thoughts there too? Everyone else is pretty much reserved or injured or on a bye.
Is out, bro. The only other thing I could do is maybe, trade Garrick out for somebody, or push Talakai down to center and trade out Garrick for a back rower. But then I'd get Gay Guy as a reserve anyway when Brayley's out. So yeah, I'm pretty short on this week, but we'll see how we go.
Should be good to go, bro. I'm really excited to see what you can come out with. Anything more you want to discuss on your team before we jump over to the Supercoach finals?
Yeah, I went with Teddy as captain. That's about it. But yeah, I do love the Payne Haas and the Lomax shout.
Yep. I do love it too. Hopefully it all works out for us. And quickly to jump over, guys, we just want to run through. There's a brand new game mode on Supercoach for the final series. So Brody knows a little bit more about this than me. I haven't really looked into it too much. But something to keep you intrigued when it comes over to final series, my bro. So this is your side. Explain what you get to pick at the moment and how it kind of works out.
Yeah, so at the moment, obviously the top 8's not locked in. So it's got availability for all the players that are potentially going to be playing finals. So it obviously narrow it down once finals are a go before you lock in the teams. But what it is you pick one player for every position, and it won't let you pick more than 2 players for the same team. So you can't just go and pick Pappenhausen, Grant, Munster, Katoa, yada, yada. So you have to pick a couple of different teams. So you can only pick 2 at most from each team. So I've gone with Harry Grant at hooker, and I've gone with Munster at 5'8". I just don't like any the other 5'8" options. I thought about maybe Matt Burton, but you probably potentially got to be looking at guys that will stay in the finals for a long period of time, because I'm not sure how trades or anything work, or if once that team's knocked out, you're down a player. So I'm not sure how that works. So you got to think about what teams are going to be playing every game. Went Payne Haas up front. The only other one I really thought about was a Joseph Tarpany. But I didn't. Nathan Cleary halfback, Jacob Kraz wing center, Dylan Edwards fullback. I did think about a Lindsay Smith up front actually, but I thought it was more critical to go Cleary and Edwards more so than a Lindsay Smith. And then
so with that, there's 2 different vein of thoughts as you kind of just touched on. Like you could go your top end scorers, like, that could continue on to the final series all the way through, or like, maybe 50-point scorer, consistent scorers that go all the way through no matter what, in that sort of sense, right? Like as you touch on with the Panthers, Lindsay Smith was a great option because he's going to get 50 or 60 points in each game. If he gets to the grand final, he gets like all those games where Payne gets knocked out in the first, game.
Exactly. So that's what you got to think about is like, you probably don't want to pick Melbourne because they're more than likely going to play week 1, then have a week off. But that's a chance you take, I guess. And then you don't want to pick the teams that you think are going to be eliminated in the first week, like a Sharks player necessarily. So I'll potentially be switching that Nico Hines to a Teddy. Yeah, so it's tough. So I'm not sure how it works. I'm not sure if they're going to allow you to have trades, so that way you have 8 players each week. But if you can only pick 2 players from each team, well, you won't be able to eventually trade.
Doesn't seem to have a trade option. So I think, it's pretty much a luck of what you want to, you got to think about it, put it into action, and hopefully it runs out that way. Because I was just thinking then, like, would you go, the Roosters, if they play each and every game all the way through, would you go a Teddy? Would you go a Sam 100%. Walker? You know what I mean? That flex. But then you can run the risk of they get knocked out in the first week to the Sharks. Like you miss out on Nico Hines. He could go big for the run all the way through.
Yeah. So I think you probably got to look at your teams that are definitely in the top 4. And it's sad because I haven't gone with any Warriors here, but Tuivasa might be a shout. I've only gone with one Doggy as well. But you definitely need to be going to Melbourne to Penrith, because I think Penrith won't get knocked out week 1, and they're going to play the whole way through. And then Melbourne aren't going to get knocked out, or at least got that second chance. So it's really tough. It's really tough to think of. But yeah, very interesting. Definitely don't pick really anybody you think that's going to be gone week 1. So Payne Haas is kind of just a spot filler there for now. But I think I might be moving him on, because I do think that they're going to be gone week 1. So interesting, but it'll also tell depending what teams finally get locked into finals as well. So
I love it, bro. It's really interesting. As I said, like, it gives you many different ways of trying to think about how to attack this final series as well. And it really, you got to watch out all the way up to and kind of predict of, like, all right, who landed in top 4? Like, as you said before, if Panthers get into the top 4, they may miss a week there between there too, and so the run home is going to be really tough. Grace here. If Warriors and Panthers win their last 3 games and Dogs lose their next 3, which are Storm, Panthers, and Sharks, Dogs will fall to 5th. What are your chances? What are the chances of that, you think, Brody?
Oh, look, I definitely think we could lose to Storm and Penrith, but I don't see my boys losing to the Sharks. Like, I know the Sharks can be hot on their day, but I don't see it. We've already beaten them at Shark Park, and if we go home to a core before the finals, that would put us on a 3-game skid. 4 of our last 5 would be a loss, because we've only had the Warriors win there. Before that was a Tigers loss. Then we lose to Storm, Panthers. Like, 1 win out of that last 5 would not look good. The boys would really be fired up to pump the Sharks. So I don't think we'll lose all 3. I can definitely see us losing 2 out of the next 3. But I'm hoping that the boys in the system and what Critter's talking about in the media is good enough to get the boys home. So I'm confident that we could pick up 2 out of these next 3 and really knock off one of the heavyweights.
Yeah, I think the other sort of thought of this action, especially coming from me as a Warriors fan, is like you'd probably have to bank on the Warriors kicking into form. And like, unfortunately, with what the cards we've dealt at the moment, we're not playing the greatest of footy of what we were. Like, it sucks that now when obviously a lot of people are like, you're one of the worst top 4 sides or whatever. And unfortunately, we got given, like, if we had Mitch Barnett and Luke Metcalf and we kept healthy in this little period, like, I think that would be a contending top 4 side, just an outside contender. Right now, unfortunately, we've kind of been like, defanged a little bit, as a side. So you're banking on us to go. Like, I have a feeling that we probably could drop a Parramatta game. We have the ability to go that way at the moment because we aren't just as sturdy as what we were to start the season. So that's the other side of it is, obviously us picking up all those wins. Hopefully we are able to, but that's the other side of it. Penrith as well. They've got, I think we spoke about, they've got the Storm. No, they've got the Sharks. The Penrith run home. Just quickly jump over to that.
We quickly go into the ladder prediction, like real quick.
I think it'll be gone now, but
no, just to do it again. Like, let's just jump in and quickly do it again. If you go. Just go to mainly our games. So, Doggies lost. Go the Warriors loss. Yep. Let's just go the rest of the year that the Doggies and the Warriors lose. I want to see if go back. Sorry, go Panthers. I want to see if Penrith and the Roosters jump in. So go Sharkies. No.
Yep. So the Panthers,
Sharkies jump in.
Sharkies jump in, and we just hold on to 8.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and that's the ability of that too, right? Like, there is, like, I'm not, as a Warriors fan coming to this weekend at Gold Coast, I like that we can have the chance to win, and I feel like we should, like, with what we have as a system, as we kind of discussed. But, like, we're not playing the greatest footy at the moment. And I think
who are the Sharkies got in round 26? I'm just trying to see if there's a way that the Roosters get into the top 4, because then, ideally on paper and the years that we've seen before. No, we just go back to there. So the Roosters can't get top 4 anyway. Because I was just going to say, if you really think about, like, on paper heavyweight squads, well, Canberra's probably not really up there, but Penrith, Melbourne, and Roosters are probably your top 4 dominant heavyweight teams. But to say that the Warriors are the worst top 4 team, well, yes, you guys have been hindered a lot by injuries, but you got a team in Canberra that's been on fire this year. You got a team in Melbourne, which is always a top 4 squad. And the Doggies that have come leaps and bounds. It's kind of obviously easy to say that you're the worst top 4 squad. But in that top 8, you're still better than all the rest of those teams other than maybe the Panthers.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's and it's all comes down to injuries. So
well, at the end of the day, like, yeah, if we were full strength, I'll be right up here arguing that we are an outside threat to the competition, right? Like, I just think that unfortunately with, like, you know, our halfback gone and one of our captains gone, that we're just not going to contend against those top 4 sides when it comes to it. But that's okay. But yeah, the discussion of, like, you know, the worst top 4 side is a bit like, come on, boys. Like, I'm sure there's been some worse ones in the past, but it's just 100%. The season it is. You know, I'm pretty happy to wear in this position. So hopefully we can get a good win this weekend, and hopefully you guys get a great win this weekend, brother. I've been down in Melbourne, guys. So Brodie's traveling down to Melbourne to go watch that game. So again, if there's any people in the chat that are going to the Melbourne game this weekend, say hello to Brodie if you see him out there.
You will see me out there. Probably be one of the only Doggies fans, maybe. Nah, we travel a lot, I think. But
no, you'll be good.
We'll see.
All right, guys. I think that'll be us for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, brother, anything more you want to jump on before we go?
That's all for me, brother.
Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Up the Warriors for the weekend and up the Doggies as well, eh?
Easy days, boys. Easy days. Thank you all in the chat. Miss you guys. And we'll be definitely trying to get back into the swing of things leading into finals. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Laters.
Laters.